You have two lives, and the second one begins when you realize you only have one. That hit me when I heard that. I'm here for a limited time. What do I really want to remember about my life, or what do I want that legacy or impact of my life to be? Welcome back to She Rises. I'm here with the amazing Melanie Marr. Melanie Marr, I have talked to Melanie before when I was doing an interview for the Rise membership that we have through Yoga Rise. And Melanie Marr is the owner of Spruce Grove Acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine.
Yep, traditional Chinese medicine, yep.
Yep. And basically, you know, it was really funny when I reconnected with Melanie. It was like finding a long lost sister.
That's true.
Through the ether, and, you know, a fellow mom, fellow entrepreneur, fellow business owner within the wellness industry, and so many parallels between our journeys.
Absolutely.
Our conversation went deep, like right from
immediately
the second that we reconnected. And, you know, it was really interesting when we were talking, because I feel like a lot of the struggles that women are facing and a lot of the inner mental battles that we have, when you and I were talking, it became really apparent to me, like, we need to let people know how common it is. We're all on our journeys. We're all just walking our paths.
Well, and it's so common. And, you know, I see so many people in the clinic every week, and so many moms that have, you know, different roles, right? Whether they're stay-at-home moms, or they have full-time jobs or part-time jobs or whatever it is. And, you know, it's interesting. We all put these masks on all the time, and I'm guilty of it too, right? We all put these masks on like, oh yeah, I got it all together. And it's just like, oh, reality, after talking to so many women, it's just like, no, we look like we have it all together. And if you do have it all together, good for you. because this is a tough line to walk, right? This is tough to be all the things all the time. And especially when you're a mom and an entrepreneur, you know, a business owner, or if you're not, just trying to wear out these roles all the time, it can be a real struggle.
Yeah, one hat is a lot. Then you try like switching out 5 throughout the day. And it's just, you know, very quickly, I think, in our isolation, when we're not connected to other women or connected to people who are going through this, it can feel like we're failing even when we're not.
100%. It feels like that all the time to me until I do start to talk to other women. And fortunately, I get to talk to a lot of women because of the practice that I'm in. And the more women I talk to, and it makes me feel not so isolated, because I'm like, wow, you know what? We are all in this together, and we're all trying to do so many things. And like I was telling you earlier, that meme I saw on Facebook, it was so great when I read that, because it's like, oh, wait a minute, we're supposed to, you know, be a mom and raise our kids the best, and we're supposed to keep the house perfectly clean, and we're supposed to make the meals and run our kids to all the activities, and, you know, work our full-time job, our part-time job, or run our business, and eat properly, and keep ourselves in shape. And it's like, really? Like, we're supposed to do, like, I laughed out loud when I read this, because I was like, oh my goodness, that's so perfect. Because this is what we think that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to do all of these things, and we're supposed to do them perfectly. So society portrays or expect, it's like an expectation, right? But it's like, okay, well, are we putting those expectations on ourselves? Because we need to stop doing that, because it is unrealistic. And the more women that I talk to, you know, we all have the same struggles. And then we get to this incredible sense of overwhelm, you know, and I feel like that all the time. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't have all of my ducks in a row all the time. I really don't. You know, you try, but something's always going to fall to the wayside. And I think these expectations are ridiculous. And we sometimes just got to take a step back and take a breath and laugh at ourselves, because it's unrealistic, and so many women out there are struggling, and I think we need to talk more about it.
Absolutely.
Because so many of us feel alone, and like you said, we feel like we're failing. Well, why should we feel like we're failing when we're doing so many things?
Absolutely. And,
right?
You know, I love what you're saying about the expectation. You know, for the strivers out there, I mean, like, for the people who love to see a job well done, like to do things well. I think that it can be very exhausting to try and wear all of those hats and then feel like you're not making progress, or like you're not actually getting any forward momentum, or feel like somehow you're just not quite good enough in all of these areas. And that's a really interesting thing to meet in yourself, because yes, you want to be successful. Yes, you want to succeed, and you want to hold your family with all this love. You want your business to thrive. And so, for those women, I think it's like being very realistic. It's being able to bring that expectation down to a more reasonable level, to say, what if we started from the premise of nobody has it all together?
Right.
What you see on Instagram is not reality for anybody. It doesn't matter. Like, I love those posts. Every now and then I get a gym post that comes up, and it's like the picture of the female workout trainer, and she's ripped and she's slim and she's got the muscles and all of that. And then right beside it is the picture of her bending over to, start her video camera, and she's got all the wrinkles around her belly button because she's a mom and her body has gone through transition. And she's like, please be aware that it's not just one thing. It's not just this picture perfect life. Like, there's a transformation that we're all going through, and we want to be real about it. Like, can we finally just be real?
You know what? I love that you said that, because can we finally all just be real? And the one thing I have a hard time with social media is I see a lot of the fakeness in it, and it's like, what did people need to do to get to that place of appearing perfect, And then let's take let's take a look at that word, perfect.
I was just gonna say,
let's take a look at that.
That needs some deconstruction.
Well, it does, because like perfect, what does that mean? There is no such thing as perfect. That is completely unrealistic. We put these expectations on yourself, and I can call myself a perfectionist. I think, like you said, some of these women that are strivers, that type A personality, I can fall into that category very much. Right. And it's
Same
like,
here.
Right. We have all this like rah energy, like rah, let's go there, let's start this business, let's do this, let's do that, and let's do it all perfectly. Well, there's no such thing as perfect, and we all strive for that, and it's exhausting. So I had to really let go of that in this last year. I had to really let go of that perfectionism, and it's so interesting that you bring that up, because it brings me back to this exercise that I was doing in my shaman course, and this was a couple of years ago, and we had this great tool where we look at all of these things, the things that we feel like we've integrated, the things like that we want to let go of, all these other things. It was this great big tool, and I got to this part where it was like, okay, well, what do I think that I have integrated? What do I think that I have actually come to peace with in myself? And the one was perfectionism.
Oh.
But the interesting thing about this tool is that we come back to that, and we need to take a deeper look at it. Well, that's been my last year. Let's take a deeper look at perfectionism. And so it's interesting. I've really had to let go of this. This is not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing this good enough. I'm not doing that good enough. Well, what is good enough? And what is good enough for whom? For society? For myself? And I had to lower the expectations on myself, because I set the bar so high. I was exhausting myself trying to have all of my things in order and everything running perfectly and everything being successful. And I got so exhausted and so overwhelmed, I had to step back and go, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I need to lower the expectations. And okay, guess what? Well, this is all maybe looks like it's in order right now, but my house is a disaster, whatever. Like, I had to let it go, because we can't be perfect for everything all the time. So I had to take a deeper look at that word.
I really love, like, in a way, I feel like you're redefining perfectionism, and also inviting all of us to kind of look at what does that mean when we look at like expectations. When we set reasonable, realistic expectations for ourselves that we can meet, then we instantly start to get that dopamine. We start to feel that oxytocin and that serotonin. Those chemicals start to function in our bodies again, because we're like, hey, I'm actually doing really well.
That's right.
Like, I'm actually doing great. And when you say like good enough, for whom, that is such a powerful question, because it's often, you know, a comparison that we're doing. It's like me 10 years ago and how my health was, me 10 years ago and how my relationships were, me 10 years ago. And it's like, or we're comparing against other people, and again, that mask that you're talking about, that people are projecting. And really, like, that's not realistic. So we have to, when we take the time to really sit back, or out of necessity, simply stop doing the things that are not actually serving us. Like, to serve ourselves would be to say, what do I really need right now?
100%. And I really had to ask myself that question. I mean, this last year has been really intense, you know, the year of the snake, that energy of shedding all of those parts of ourselves, you know, and I really had to take a step back and go, what do I need? What do I need for myself? You know, I'm giving, but what do I need to feel like I am enough, you know, for me at that time, right? Not for society or what expectations of other people, what they expect from me, but what do I need for myself? What do I need to give myself? And I decided that I'm going to start being selfless with myself.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Like with my time, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to exhaust myself trying to be perfect for, you know, everybody else, or these ridiculous expectations of, you know, making it look like I have it all together, because like I don't.
Got a question for you that comes out of that, because I love everything that you're saying. And I feel like there's this interesting thing, like, so you still have a business, you still have that part of you that wants to excel, that wants to do well. How do you balance that, you know, this honoring of yourself? I think this would be good for people to hear. How do you balance that honoring of yourself with still having goals for your business and still, you know, having dreams and all of that?
That's a really deep question, right? Because I'm still trying to figure that out. It's just like, okay, well, you know, I am a driven person. I do have goals. I do have desires. I do have, you know, where I see myself and what do I want to accomplish, you know, in all aspects of my life, you know, whether that's like in my business, you know, being a mom, being a wife, you know, or for me, like, what do I want for me? And how do I balance that? Well, I'm driven. I do need to make sure that things are going well in my business. You know, I'm always working on myself. And it's interesting because I don't know if there's a balance. Like, I'm still trying to find it, right? Like, what I've learned though is I do need to honor me. And if I feel like I honor myself and the things that I need, so I had to ask myself, okay, well, what do I need to function at the capacity and the frequency that I need to accomplish my goals? Okay, well, if I'm only, you know, like driven and like, well, you know, in an overwhelmed state, like, well, I have to get this done, I have to get that done, and I have to get this done, you know, to be successful. It's like, okay, well, no, wait a minute. What if I came from, I'm going to give myself what I need first to feel grounded, to feel whole, to feel full, that cup is full, so that I then can still put that energy out to acquire my goals, my dreams, my desires.
Yeah, putting your mask on first, basically.
That's right. So I need to give, so I decided, you know, I need to give myself first what I need, you know, and what does that look like for me? I mean, it looks different for everybody, right? I mean, I need stillness. I need time alone. I need time for my spiritual practices. I need time. I need sleep. We all need sleep. Sleep's really important.
What are you talking about?
Right.
Just kidding.
I need to eat really nutritious foods, high, you know, vibrational foods that feed me. I know what that feels like for me. And I know what it feels like to give myself time. And time for me is so precious, you know. And that's one thing that I need. I need time for me to fill my cup and to make sure that I am grounded and I feel good. So then therefore I can go out and I can put, you know, the energy that I need into accomplishing my goals. And I mean, sure, I can say that. It's not as easy as it seems sometimes, right? Things come up, situations come up that needs our energy, that needs our time, right? So I mean, it's a constant ebb and flow. It's a constant balancing act. And sometimes I get really irritated with that word balance because I'm like, you know, I find myself saying it to my patients sometimes, like, well, you just need to find the balance. And I had to sit with that. And I'm like, I'm like, really, Mel? I'm like, balance? I'm like, can we find balance in all of this? To me, it's like a constant juggling act.
I know, like, we were chatting a little bit before this, and one of the things that you mentioned you would really strengthen was your boundaries. I think boundaries really help us not to create a perfection, and I'm using quotes for those who can't see them, but more to keep us within a frequency, within a vibration, right, so that we're not necessarily compromising the things that are really important. And you know, what I'm hearing you say too is that within all of this, we all have an invitation to find out, like, what is truly filling my cup, my energy, my frequency to get to that level. Like for you, it's 100%. You've named a number of things that I think resonate with a lot of people, but for each of us, it's like, how can I curate my experience of life so that I am filling my cup, so that I can show up for my kids, so I can show up for my
100%.
family, so that my business isn't getting, you know, the bulk of everything, but it's still being so nourished by me because I'm present with it. I'm here with it. I'm doing the things that are important. And I think that's a really powerful tool that we all could use if we are finding ourselves being overrun and just saying, like, how do I find more of that state of ease in my life without the pressure, without the unreasonable expectations being pushed down upon me?
Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. It's like I can't say that enough. I think it is so important, something that I'm continuously learning. You know, I used to be very much a people pleaser, right? Like, said yes when I really wanted to say no. And I've just decided, no, you know what? My time is important. My energy is important. And I'm going to put up those boundaries, and I'm not going to give away my energy anymore, because I know how precious that is, and I need that so that I can show up in all aspects of my life and do the best that I can, you know? And that's what I'm striving for right now. Like, I'm going to do the best that I can in all aspects of my life. And some days that's not going to look that great, but you know what? That's okay.
I'm getting that picture in my mind where it's talking about consistency and persistence, where it has, like, you know, some days it's 20% and some days it's 80%, you know, and it's not about being the same every day. I was just talking with my coaching community this morning, and I said, you know, my morning routine looks different every day. Like, there are some pieces that are pretty consistent, but, you know, depending on how I'm feeling that day, you know, I might choose to nourish myself differently so that I'm of the frequency I want to be at when I start my day.
But see, that's really important. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Get all excited. That's really important, because I think we need to relearn, okay? I think we need to relearn to be in tune with ourselves and to really pay attention to what we need and what our body is telling us, right? Like, I went through that where I was like, oh, I need to work out, and I have these workouts, and this is what I have to do every day, and these are the workouts that I have to do. And I would push myself, and I pushed myself to exhaustion. My adrenal glands were screaming at me, and it took me a while to realize it, but I was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. I was like, this is not what's good for me. So, you know, every day now I wake up and I just get in touch with myself, and I go, what do I need today that is going to feel the best for me at this time, that is going to nourish me the most for my highest and greatest good? One day I might be doing Pilates. One day I might be doing yoga. One day I might just want to sit there in my window with my cup of coffee and just stare at the trees. And that's what I need at that time. You know, we're so good at pushing ourselves and being hard at ourselves, but we need to start paying attention and having that awareness and cultivating that awareness of, what do we need? What can I give myself at this time so that I can show up?
Yeah, this is bringing up something to mind that, like, I feel like is a common theme that I talk about with people, but I think it's so powerful that it's worth mentioning again, because you've brought it up, is that, you know, we can do things from a contracted space where we're imposing good on ourselves, and I'm putting good in quotes here, where it's like, you know, go and do the workout first thing in the morning, and make sure you do all your journaling, and you know, make sure that you're eating this and this many grams of protein. All of that, we can really impose that on ourselves from a restrictive point of view, or we can start to do things for ourselves out of a more soft, expansive, because I love myself energy.
That's right.
It's like I'm doing this because I love myself. I'm not pushing myself to burn out. I'm pushing myself, maybe not even push. I'm guiding myself into what is this next version of me? What is this next, iteration of me? What do I value? What's important to me? How do I want to be living? Because the thing about goals is like you can have great goals, and I'm a goal. I support people in having goals, but there's a really interesting thing about goals, which is that it's not just about getting to your goal. It's the whole journey on the way there. The second you achieve your goal, guess what? You're goalless. Now you got to set another one. And if you are not enjoying the process, or if the process is so arduous that it is actually taking more energy from you than it's giving, there's a disconnection in the way that you're going about it. And so really paying attention to these things. I imagine you see a lot of this burnout energy too coming through, and maybe in even your own experience a little bit.
So many people are burnt out right now. So many people. This is a constant theme that I'm seeing, and so I have this conversation a lot with people all the time, right? I'm like, get in touch with you. What do you need? We're pushing ourselves from an empty cup. It's just like, oh my goodness, why are we doing this?
100%.
Where are we getting?
100%.
We're not getting anywhere with that.
Yeah.
We got to stop pushing, because there are so many people burnt out and overwhelmed, and in a daze. It's interesting. I go to the supermarket, to the grocery store, whatever, and people are kind of like in a daze, just in this overwhelmed burnout. It's like we need to stop doing this to ourselves. A little bit more gentleness,
Yeah, a little bit more love and self-care.
Yes.
And growth that is aligned. Like I feel like we want to redefine this journey that we're going on. Like we all have things that we'd love to see happen in our lives. We have dreams, we have children's families, businesses, all the things. And at the same time, the timeline is unknown. We don't really know how much time we have here to do the things that we want to do. But the push energy is burning us out fast.
Yes.
It's not necessarily serving us. It might be creating more health issues than not.
Absolutely.
And so, a lot of the things I work with in my work is, we talk about anchoring to an identity that's already inside of us, that is aligned, that is something that fills us up, that allows us to nourish ourselves, that gives us the space that we need, that listens to that inner voice, that trusts intuition, so that we're being magnetized forward from an expansive and light energy, almost a freedom of like, I love this, as opposed to, I've got to do this, I've got to push myself forward, I've got to show up today, I've got to this, I've got to that, with all of these, like, can we not should on ourselves anymore?
I was just going to say that.
Can we just stop that? Enough of the shoulding.
I know, it's so true, because we do it to ourselves all the time. Like I should be doing this, and I should be doing that, and I should be doing this. And it's just like you said, like the journey and the process, to get where we need to go. We are on this journey that looks different for everybody, but let's enjoy that process and let's learn from that process, instead of like coming from this like chaotic energy of like, well, I should do this and I have to do this and I have to do that. And it's just like, let's go with the flow a little bit more.
Okay, so this is bringing up a really good question, because, I feel like you and I maybe have both had this experience. Do you feel that you had to kind of should on yourself for a while and push and hit a wall to be able to recalibrate some of this? And I'm not trying to say that it's like a prerequisite for where we are now, but I almost feel like we do things the way we've been programmed to do them. We listen to society, whether we want to or not. It's there making all of its noise, all of that. And then at some point we're like, this doesn't feel right. And or our bodies are just like, enough. And at that point we say, okay, I need to recalibrate. Like, I feel like it's very few people that I'm aware of. And I'm saying this because I think that there's this idea that some people have it all together. And I actually believe that sometimes we have to hit that wall, or we have to realize we cannot continue the way that we're going. Mm-hmm. And then when that happens, we say, oh, is there another way? Like, can I recalibrate? It's almost like the breakdown before the breakthrough.
That's the transformation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the transformation, and that's the journey. And sure, I think probably most people experience that, right? Because in the beginning, when we're starting off on a new journey, like let's say opening the business, right? Opening businesses, or starting a new job or whatever it may be, we move forward so fast and we don't really know what we're doing, and we have to figure it out, and we do, and we push, and we have this like really energy at the beginning, like we're starting any project, right? There's always this like big energy at the beginning. Oh, this is what I'm going to do, and there's like so much passion, and well, you start going and you move fast and you've got all the pieces and you're going for so long. For me, it was for years I went like that. I went full throttle with my foot on the gas, burning the candle at both ends for years, right?
Right.
And that was the journey. And I learned a lot of things along the way, but it wasn't until I hit that wall that I completely burnt out. Then I'm like, okay, no, this isn't working anymore. I need to do things differently. But that is such a pivotal moment right there, because right there, that is the transformation. That's when you start listening to yourself and not everything out there. That's when you start listening to that intuition. That's when you allow yourself to be guided rather than being pushed.
I love that.
Right? And not to say that everybody's going to hit that wall. Maybe some people do it differently. I just know that I can only speak from my experience, right? So that's my experience,
Yeah.
And I think that's a common experience with people.
I think it's pretty common.
I think it's pretty common, right? And I mean, because we do listen to society. Of course we do. Society influences us. How can we not, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I think that's such a big transformation when you start to listen to you and what do you need, and you quiet those voices out there. And most of the time it is running into that wall.
Absolutely.
and burning out. I mean, was it like that for you?
For me, I had a few moments like that in my life where I realized that the way that I was doing things wasn't sustainable.
Totally.
Those were moments where I was like, okay, if I actually want longevity, if I want to keep serving people for a long period of time in whatever the business is that I'm doing, I have to find a way to build this business that is going to last over years, and that it's sustainable over years, and that it has sustainable growth built into it. And, when I started my last business of Yoga Rise, that was interesting because that was only 4 years ago. So I had hit my walls enough to know I wanted to do it very differently. And it became very apparent to me at that time that I had to be aware of the business and the time I was investing in that. I was also a mom at that time. I had 2 little kids. So at that point I was like, okay, I need to look in. If my family is my priority, if I want to be the mom that I want to be, then I have to find a way to show up for them, nourish myself, and show up for my business and set it up differently. And so I brought a lot of that into the building of this business, but I can honestly say that in previous working conditions, I was one of those like, yes, man, take it on. Like, what do you need? How high do you need me to jump? Right. And I was a really good jumper. Like I was really good at that. So it took a lot of experiences of meeting my own limits on physical levels and on mental and emotional levels, and learning about my own resiliency, while learning that I didn't always have to push myself to the edge to get where I wanted to go.
But see, that's so amazing, because all of that has been your journey, right? Like all of that. And it's our journey that is going to depict who we become. And I just love that, because the whole process is just like this beautiful transformation of all of the lessons and all of the wisdom that we gain.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah, well, thank you. And
it's hard work.
And the same for you. And for any woman, who's kind of, either hitting that wall or feels the wall in front of you, or if you've passed that wall, and so lots of this is resonating with you too. I mean, like, I think this is kind of our shared story, is that we get to look at the things that are happening. If the train is going so fast that we can't look out the window and see the scenery, it's a sign. It's a sign that
slow down, take a look.
Yeah. And also, being able to be inspired by the experiences that we're having, the life that we're living, the things that we want to accomplish in a way that's uplifting and energizing. Because there's that cup, you know, inside of each of us that once it's full, it overflows if we keep trying to pour into it. So it's like really knowing what that measuring stick of enough is. And on some days, it's like we don't have a lot of buffer room for more. Less is more.
Absolutely. And I think what's also important about, you know, so there's like this feeling inspired, right? And, you know, having our cup full. And there's also what I've learned in my journey, being okay with failure. Because that's how we learn too. So we can push, and let's say we try something and it just doesn't quite succeed the first time, or we feel like we failed at it, right? Having some humility with that and looking at that and being okay with it. Get up, brush yourself off, and start again.
100%.
Right? And that's what I've learned, been part of the journey too, right? Oh, try it this way. It didn't work. You know, okay, that's okay. Now I'm going to try it this way.
Yeah.
You know, and being okay with that.
You know, I really love that you said that, because for years I resisted putting myself out there because I was so afraid what other people would think. I was so afraid of rejection. I was afraid of people, you know, just judging me, all of that. And so I was petrified to do anything online because I was afraid that people would have a negative viewpoint of me, or that I would get criticized. And that just terrified me. It really did. And so it stopped me from doing things that I wanted to do. And like, if I was sitting to write a Facebook post, for example, it would take me hours.
I used to do that, yeah.
Oh my God. Like, when I think about it now, I'm just like the amount of care that I wrapped into every single word. Like, on the one hand, yay that I was caring so much. But on the other hand, it was so much of an overthinking paradigm and a worry and fear about judgment that at the end of the day, I can honestly say, like, it wasn't authentic, because I wasn't able to really be myself and just stand on my own 2 feet. Now, when I look at putting something out there, or I look at doing something, it's a lot more about the authenticity and about the alignment and
Absolutely.
about the energy that it's coming through. It's about not aiming for perfection, but aiming for that alignment and that frequency match. And I think that it's, you know, really easy to feel overwhelmed by the things that are coming up. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, we get to decide, you know, what's the marker of enough. We get to decide what's going out there. We get to decide how we're going to show up and live this life every single day.
Well, exactly. And I think we all feel criticized. We all feel judged. We all feel like people are looking at us and judging us. And, you know, I think that's a very common theme in humanness. I just made up a word there, but, you know, I think that's a big fear that a lot of people have. And I think that's very common, you know, and if we can work at letting that go, you know, letting go of the fear of other people judging us, letting go of judgment on ourselves, you know, because naturally I think we just do that all the time, in the self-criticism. And, you know, work on letting that go so that you can step into your authentic self. And you know what? Yeah, you know what? You could do something as perfect and awesome as you want. Somebody's going to judge you for it.
Absolutely.
Because that's just the real world.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. So, you know, to let go of that and be like, okay, you know what? I don't really care. I'm going to be me. I'm going to show up as me. And I'm going to do the things, you know, with integrity that I believe that I want to do. Like, live my life with integrity. And I know people are going to judge me. I know people are going to criticize me. And I'm just at that point in my life right now where I just don't care anymore. And that's not coming from a negative standpoint. That's just coming from, I know who I am. I know what I want. I know where I want to go. And I know I live my life with integrity. And I know I'm a good person. And if people want to judge me for that, so be it.
Yeah. I love that you said that. And I feel like there's almost a graduation that happens when it's like you realize that you're more willing to be honest and true to yourself then you are willing to please the perspectives of people that it doesn't even, whether they're close to you or not, whether they know you or not, it just doesn't even matter anymore. It's like that's no longer a factor or a decision-making factor in how I'm going to live my life.
It's not a priority for me.
Yeah.
Right? Priority is me, showing up for me, being my authentic self, and acquiring my goals the way that I want to, and living my life with integrity. I just love that word so much, integrity.
It's a big word.
It's a big word. And for me, that means staying true to me and staying true to my word, being an honest person and living my life with integrity. And as long as I feel like I am doing that for me, then so be it if other people criticize or judge, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm okay with me and who I am. Authenticity, that's a word that I use a lot. I use that a lot with my patients because I talk to them about that, Be authentic for you. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as? How do you want to show up? We're so busy thinking about what other people think about us. And, I feel like it's time to let go of that, And that's different for everybody. That timing is different for everybody when you want to
and
let
by
go of
degrees, right? It doesn't have to be
100%.
all at once either. It can be, for each of us, sometimes you just let go of a little bit more of the care of judgment. It
100%.
just happens as it happens for each of us.
Well, yeah, because I'm still working on it,
There's layers to go.
There's layers. It's like I can
Layers
say,
and levels.
I don't care what people think. It's just like, well, I still do deep down,
Yeah.
But it is layers, right? Like the more you step into your authentic self and you step into your power, the more those judgments and criticisms fall away from what other people think,
What's coming up for me when you're talking is that, at the end of the life, though, as we're living our life, it's not for anybody else.
Oh, that's right.
It's not for anybody else. And so, when we actually take the time to just say, like, how do I want to be looking back on my life when I'm 80, 85? What decision would I wish I had made here?
Right.
What are the choices? How much laughter do I want to have? Like,
Right.
most people when they're 85 are not looking back and saying, there's all these things that I wish I hadn't done. They're looking back and saying, there's more that I wish I had done that was in alignment with my heart and my soul. And
absolutely.
I wish I had been authentic. I wish I hadn't held back,
That's
who I
right.
really am from this world or from
Right.
the people in it. So that perspective always gives me pause because it reminds me that, there are different ways that we can live life. And I think as we start to unwrap this authenticity inside of us, like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon, and we start to spread our wings a little bit, we realize, if everybody was flying around as this, beautiful butterfly that they are, is they really expressing themselves and being true to themselves, like there would be so much authenticity between us. Our relationships would be more deeply grounded. Our communities would be loving and uplifting and kind. And this is something that we start by honoring it inside ourselves.
100%.
And recognizing it in other like-minded people, and starting to really give that a space to grow within our society.
Right, because how do we change the world? Starts with yourself.
We have to start
with yourself.
Start with
right?
square one.
That's right. Starts
Yeah.
with that personal growth, and it's a personal growth that doesn't ever end. Like
No.
in my eyes, it doesn't ever end, always striving to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, there's always a layer. And I think that there is a moment when your eyes open. Like there's a quote that I heard a long time ago, and it said, you have 2 lives, and the second one begins when you realize you only have one.
Oh, let me wrap my head around that for a second.
You have 2 lives, and the second one begins when you realize you only have one.
Oh, I like that.
That hit me when I heard that, because I was like, dang. Like when you have that like impact of I'm here for a limited time. What do I really want to remember about my life, or what do I want that legacy or impact of my life to be? When you start to look at society's current and how fast it's flowing and the things that it values, sometimes we realize, there are parts of that are important and that I want to be a part of, but there's also like this inner rhythm and this inner flow and this inner journey that might be on a very different pace or frequency than that. And when you start to hear that whisper in you and you can't ignore it anymore, something dramatically shifts in the way that you go about living your life. You hear it. You hear the noise, the traffic. It's like having a highway close to your house. But it is no longer governing the show, and it's no longer the rhythm that you're listening to guide your actions, your movements. Like you said, it's an inward directed movement that starts to come out. And I think that's
Absolutely. And
there's
again,
something gold in that.
That's the transformation.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like that takes I don't want to say a lifetime, but that takes a long time of experiences and situations and different things happening in order to really listen to that inner voice, and that's when that beautiful transformation happens. And I mean, I feel like it continues. It's not like a one-time thing like, oh, look, I transformed and everything's great now. It's just like, oh, right. You continue to transform, to continue to step into your authenticity and your power and to listen to exactly what it is that you need. I mean, you say things so eloquently. I love it.
So do you. But there's this, I think that this is like, it's like it gives you a new lens.
Yes.
I think of those like, those, the safes that have like the click, 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 like turn locks on them. And it's almost like, you just have no idea when you're going to hit the exact frequency, the exact combination to open that inner awareness. But then once it opens, it's like the lens is now always there. So now we can calibrate so good to, oh, okay, I'm not in alignment right now. Yes. I'm not listening to myself, or I'm letting the world overtake me. I'm letting my emotion overtake me. I'm not running my mind is running me. We start to become more aware of that when it's happening. So yes, it's still happening, but our awareness is there, so we might be able to shift it a lot faster, give ourselves a lot more grace, love ourselves through the process, have more tools in our toolbox, and all of that is like this becoming that you're talking about, this transformation, this frequency shift.
And it is awareness. Like, to me, it always comes down to awareness. Awareness, awareness, awareness. That's what my shaman teachers said. So they like drilled that into us, because it's like everything comes down to awareness. The more aware you are, the more present and aware you are, the more you can make those changes that you need, right? I mean, instead of just kind of like sleepwalking through life.
I love that. Melanie, if you had one message that you wanted to share with people who might be either struggling right now or just words of wisdom or inspiration, what's something that's just been a big eye-opening insight for you in the last few months of life? It's coming up right now.
So I like to listen to the first thing that comes to my mind, because I don't like to overthink it, because I overthink everything. Be gentle with yourself. Really be gentle with yourself. And I say that out of experience, because I have been my own worst critic. And I think a lot of us are. It's a very common theme, especially talking to a lot of patients of mine. And be gentle with yourself. I mean, this is a process. Awakening is a process. Having awareness is a process. Transforming your life is a process. Reaching your goals. Everything is a process. Like I said, we can't be scared of failure. Sometimes that happens, and maybe sometimes that's the greatest thing that happens to us, so that we can, take a shift or move into a different part or learn so much from that. And in this entire journey that we are traveling on in life, whatever that may be, looks so different from everyone, be kind to yourself and be gentle to yourself, because, we can be so hard on ourselves, and that is going to get you nowhere. That's just going to enhance those self-limiting beliefs that we have deep down inside. So be gentle.
Give your power somewhere else.
That's right. Be kind, be gentle, and enjoy the ride. It can be a crazy one.
It absolutely can. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your words of wisdom today. I really appreciate having you on here.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed today. That was a great talk.
So good.